Welcome everybody, Keystone Big Book Study Workshop with the program Recovery Thursday night, and excited to be here. My name is Tony Robertson, a recovered alcoholic. Sobriety date's April 8, 1989, and before I get all carried away, who's joining us tonight?
Hi, my name's Katie. I'm a recovered alcoholic.
I heard you did a great job last week. Appreciate it. I was in Toronto for my mom's 88th birthday, being the son that I always wanted to be and being the son she always hoped for. So it was a phenomenal time that we had. So why don't we open this meeting with a little outside help? What kind of help we need for a successful life there, Katie? At least I know you prayed once today.
I've prayed all day.
Hey, that's the way to do it. That explains the smile. Okay, so what do we need for a good meeting? God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. All right, we're going to look at 6 and 7, but in order to understand the most misunderstood part of the book, you always hear people, but it's only 2 paragraphs. Anybody ever hear that before? But it's only 2 paragraphs. We need to read all these other books to kind of get it to explain it, or this or that. All other books are designed where you get more involved than you should. Right? It changes the fact of you fixing you. And we've already established why we kind of started on this route is that path is that we couldn't create the change within inside of ourselves necessary on the level that they were experiencing in order to recover. That I couldn't shake this thing that I was afflicted with, right? I tried every method out there. I'm not alone on that, right? We tried many methods, and when all our methods failed, then we became open to the method being presented to us. But the key ingredient of this thing is when we were approached by those with whom the problem had been solved. If it was an idea, finding it, most of us would have found it in the first meeting. Most of us get successful because somebody 12-stepped us. They heard us share, and they became really overly interested in us, right? That's why it's always good when new people share. We kind of look at each other. That one's mine. I always encourage new people to share. That way we can see where you're at and what kind of thinking we're dealing with, right? which is really awesome. They talk about that in earlier on. They talk when working with other intensive work with other alcoholics. We don't think it's intensive work, but it actually is. So when we kind of went through this thing, we kind of seen that I can't create the change necessary to recover from this illness. In order to fully grasp what I'm up against, I have to have the step 1 experience, right? The step 1 experience is I'm doomed to an alcoholic death. That everything within my own resources is not going to change what's coming. Is another drink. Like the step 1 promise, everybody likes those terminologies. The step 1 promise or the step 1 explanation is that I'm going to continue to drink even though I may not want to. That I'll be drinking against my own will. I'll be without the fence against the first drink at certain times. And when I look back over my drinking history, I concur. I see that is true. We understand that as the malady. And that's why, step 1 condition never changes. But they say we have a solution for that, right? In step 2, and why we really don't like the basis of the underlying kind of scope or outlay of step 2 is that we can't be that solution, right? We really don't like that idea that we can't be the solution, because as we went through the literature, we found out our first obsession is really ourselves and self-fixing self. I know none of you fine people has ever had that problem, but I said to myself, self, what do you think? Glad you asked, right? And then most of my shares, without realizing it in meetings, was all self-based. Me fixing me concentrating on this, me worrying about that, and it was all self-based. And every once in a while, I do a cameo, give God a cameo appearance in my talk at the end of it. And I like to thank God for all my success, right? But the whole talk was based. But I don't know that, right? I don't know that because I haven't had any other experience. So when I had that step 1 experience of the acknowledgement that I can't create the life that I heard other people talking about, right? I can't create this. Like, it took me a long time to realize that. And when I went through the book and they explained lack of power is my dilemma, it made sense that I can't create the psychic change. Even though I may have a different feeling about my life, my drinking, that's not enough to stop this thing that has possession of me, right? The malady that centers in the mind. And then I have to undergo a psychic. That's the first thing, that I have to experience an entire psychic change. And then from that, I go into a daily reprieve, right? And so when this first indication of this conversation, we've been through it, is some of my favorite pages, is where they talk about 54, 55. And on 54, the kind of synopsis of it is, I'm a sum result of all my thinking, feeling, and understandings. That I've created the reality that I live in, and my outlook upon life and my reaction and input with people, places, and things. That I'm basically the cause to all my problems, but I don't see it.
Not everybody's favorite page.
Not everybody's favorite page. And then on the next page, they kind of give me the foundation to this thing, which we acknowledge is a phenomenal chapter. They give me the basis of this thing is not looking outside of myself, but looking inside of myself to where this entity, this life force is present. And every man, woman, and child were born with it. And that kind of made sense why there was always been this agonizing, which I used to call agonizing voice talking to me. Hey, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Right? And with enough drinks, I'd get rid of that talking voice, right? And then it'd come back again about 3 o'clock in the morning. Hello, it's me again. And then I'd be talking to this thing about my life. Anybody have that? Who are you talking to in there? Mind your business, right? Like, just full-scale conversation with you, a drink, and whoever you're talking to. Sometimes the radio station playing all your favorite hits, but that's another story for another time. So as we go through this, then we get to this point of, well, I need access to this power. I understand the psychic change of spiritual experience that they talk about in the back of the book. I got a basic on this because I read it, and I had it explained to me, this thing that I need to acquire, and it happens as the result of the steps. So what I'm seeing now is step 1, it means I'm going to relapse again. Step 2 says I have a solution to that problem, right? And it's a course of action when I engage in that allow me to have a psychic change or spiritual experience as the result of these steps. So the idea presented in step 2 is the confirmation in step 12. Yes? And then when I get to step 3, they talk about this relationship that's possible in the outline of that relationship. How when I get access to this power, right, that it creates the ability to overcome the bondage and difficulties of self. So the key is the access of this power, not how well I work the steps, but how the steps lead me to a relationship with something greater than myself. So right away I start seeing that the steps are not the solution, they're the vehicle. Right? And the idea presented in step 3 is that I can have this relationship that will allow longevity. Right? And that's what this book is about, is to enable me to have this connection if I'm willing to do what they did. That's why they kind of laid it out in the way they did. So as I started on this idea, right, that I could have this relationship that they talk about, well, something said go there, because I hear some people arguing with me already. So they talk about the sum result of the step 3 prayer or idea is that I may bear witness to those I may help of what?
Thy power, thy love, and thy way of life.
That's the story, is the experience of that, but I can't create that. That's what I'm hoping to obtain. That would be as the result of this course of action. So we see step 3 is a summary of all the earmarks that I'm going to experience as I go along. Right? The first of all is through accessing this power is to overcome self and the difficulties and bondages, right? These things that consume me. So as I made that decision, and I go on to page 64 here, you'll see where I'm going with this. We're getting into 6 and 7, but you have to have the basis of the fundamental idea of what perceives that. Because if you understand everything that perceives step 6, then step 6 makes perfectly good sense. But if you haven't done all the information before that, you say it's only one paragraph. But all the information leading up to that prepares you for what they're presenting. right? That means you would have to be following along to understand what they're talking about. So the first paragraph here, though our decision, Katie?
Sure. So, top of 64. Though our decision was a vital and crucial step, it could have little permanent effect unless at once followed by a strenuous effort to face and to be rid of the things in ourselves which have been blocking us.
That should be underlined in your book. That should be underlined in the book. It's a strenuous effort to face and be rid of the things that are blocking us, right? Mm-hmm. And then here they go on to a recipe. Therefore, we started upon step 4, and they talk about here, first we searched out the flaws in our makeup which caused our failure. So we're looking for the things that are causing our failure, which is a derivative of page 54. Because if I continue to think as I've always done, I'll continue to get what I've always gotten. But I'm the only one that don't realize that, because I can't see how I'm actually thinking and causing all my problems, because I'm possessed by these things. These things have me, I don't have it. By the time I get the thought, it's already becoming an action. There's no really debate in it, right? It's alternatives. I'll do this or that, right? And self-based alternatives, right? So I don't have the ability to think. I have the ability to connive at this point. And what's the best outcome for me? Right? Anybody else? No, just me? Okay. So first we search out the flaws in our mind. This is we did exactly the same thing. Why don't we start there for a second? You see that further down, third paragraph down?
Yeah. We did exactly the same thing with our lives. We took stock honestly. First, we searched out the flaws in our makeup which caused our failure.
That should be underlined in our book. That's a continuation of the thought at the top of the page, yes? Remove the blocks, face and be rid of these things, and they're saying the same thing here, but they're wording it a little different, right? Flaws in our makeup, which caused our failure. Blocking us, causing our failure, same kind of thing, right? Being convinced. That nobody else can help you with that. That's all you. You based on you, right? And the more pain you're experiencing, the more acute your hearing becomes. I don't know if anybody's ever noticed that. Something about us in pain that kind of goes, what was that again? Before that is, here, let me tell you what I'm thinking.
You will be convinced. Okay, which caused our failure. Being convinced that self manifested in various ways was what had defeated us.
So there's a lot of different ways it comes at us. They mentioned that on page 62, where they talk about 100 forms of fear and 100 forms of fear and self-delusion. But if you could see the recipe, what it looks like when it's starting to appear or when it's appeared, then you could work toward the correction of it or the avoidance of it. So we're trying to get an aspect of looking at it before it happens, not after. But here we have to look at it after to see how it's all been created. So here they're going to give us the recipe on looking at what?
So that you can be convinced. Resentment is the number one offender.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Being convinced that self manifested in various ways was what had defeated us. We considered its common manifestation.
So we're looking for the things that defeated us, yes? Mm-hmm. So resentment is the number one. And we see what the purpose of the exercise here is to learn how to master resentments, as talked about on page 66. We learn how to master this thing, right? Which would be taking away my difficulties and the bondage of self. We learn how to master that through the application of prayer, and where's the derivative of how my instincts are getting out of whack, how they invited other people, how I couldn't see I was creating my own problems with these people, places, and things. Now I see how I set up my own demise, right? And then to kind of conclude the resentment kind of thing here by going into fears. But those of us who've already been through this process realize fear precedes resentment, right? But we don't know how to look at that, so we got to get rid of the number one kind of abscess on our energy, our soul, our spirit, is these things that we carry, which is resentment and the energy abscess that's connected to it, right? Remember, it's not the decaying of the tooth that kills you, it's the abscess connected to it, right? So here, just to get our head wrapped around it, notice on page 67, notice the word fear. I'm moving into where we are in 6 and 7. You'll kind of get to, you say, oh, I'm tying it all together here, right? So go ahead and notice the word fear.
Sure. Page 67, bottom of the page. Notice the word fear is bracketed alongside the difficulties with Mr. Brown, Mrs. Jones, the employer, and the wife. This short word somehow touches every aspect of our lives.
Every aspect of our lives. It's like walking through a chicken coop. You're going to get some on you. Right? Okay.
It was an evil and corroding thread. The fabric of our existence was shot through with it. It set in motion trains of circumstances which brought us misfortune we felt we didn't deserve.
So that's it. We're able to see that coming now, where we couldn't see it before. Like we were the smartest people in the world in hindsight. You ever notice that? We're geniuses in hindsight. Foresight, not so much, right? Doctor talked about maladjusted full flight from reality and downright mental defections. I'll show you. I'll burn my own house down. What the hell did I do that for? Anyways, we're not the keenest people. Then we found out on the other page, perhaps there's a different way. We're learning the application of prayer and being an observer of the mind. The ability to step back from my thinking and emotions and see where it's a derivative of based on one of my instincts gone astray and how it's involving me and how I'm starting to be involved, and perhaps there's a better way where I'm able to apply prayer now. First, the acknowledgement this is happening, apply prayer, create a different energy and direction within inside of me, right? That's what we're learning here. Right? The ability to say, whoa, there's a shift, there's something happening within me, right? I'm going to stop this before it becomes a problem or before I involve other people, which is a real goal for us, right?
At the very least.
How can I, have this landmine not turn into a hand grenade, right? Where I create collateral damage. Then we got into the harms and conduct. And then the conclusion of that exercise. So from page 64, right, and carefully going through the instructions here, and hopefully with the guise of somebody else, right, who's had the experience and the importance of the application of these prayers and learning to be an observer, right, and learning to step through the prayer process instead of the self-analysis process. The interruption of my thinking and my emotions by the application of prayer and redirecting. Bill talked about that. I was just testing my newfound thinking with the new God consciousness within. Here, I don't know exactly how it works, but I'm starting to get some relief when I do it. So remember, they talked about it as a phenomenon. We don't know how to explain it, but it seems like when people do it, they're getting a relief that they couldn't create on their own. Right? They're getting access to this thing. So remember, I talked about the week beforehand, where they're talking to you, right, about their experience. We haven't stepped into the experience of the collective yet. Somewhere along the steps, it changes. This conversation changes from talking to you based on our experience to we're having the same experience and how could we develop. It's really interesting. I'm like, yeah. Anyways, so page 71, we hope. Everybody there, we hope. Who's the we? Those that put this together and everybody who's done it since. We're all hoping this for you as part of your experience, because you have to have the experience, not the knowledge, the experience. We hope
you are convinced now that God can remove whatever self-will has blocked you off from him.
So what's the self-will?
Resentment, fear, conduct, harms,
and whatever other emotional deformity I may be hanging on to. Remember, when harboring such feelings. So this is just the basic recipe to look at, the basic cooking ingredients, right? You can add sprinkles or whatever later, but that's the emotional deformity. I could recognize this. I don't know what is some of that anxiety or some of the fear or some of the emotional stuff that I used to suffer from would just be free floating, not really attached to anything. I'd just be dominated by it. It caused dry heaving, and I couldn't really put what it was, but it was emotional deformities, right? Then when I applied the same recipe, they talk about we treat sex as we would any other problem. Here we ask God with direction and seek counsel. So we have the recipe, which is the foundation for step 11. But we have everything we need to move on, right? So go ahead. If biggest word in the book. If
you have already made a decision and an inventory of your grosser handicaps.
And what's your grosser handicaps?
The same things. The resentment.
Same things. They're not going to surprise us with new information. Right? People go selfish and consider. That's the vehicle. That's not the problem. Because if your instincts were in line, then you wouldn't be having the pain in the tooth. If your tooth was okay, you wouldn't have the pain creating the abscess. The pain is the selfish, inconsiderate, dishonest. Yeah, that's the vehicle. Inviting other people to the situation that you've created on self. That's not the problem. Mm-hmm. Right? Because one day I could be kind and considerate, and the other day I could be mean and inconsistent. It's the same coin looking for the same results based on self. That's why it's very delusional. Oh, I was so good today. Oh, you were? Yeah, I got my way all day. Right? And then the days I'm not, is those people. I can't believe it. It's the same thing, right? Self, directed by self, not getting the response we want. And we have a problem with the world now. I know none of you fine people have that, but now I'm able to see it. Now I'm able to see it, right? Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. You have made a good beginning. That being so, you have swallowed and digested some big chunks of truth about yourself.
The digestion part took a little while. A little blockages here and there. But there was some movement after a while. Right? So the next page, it tells us what this is all about in case we forget. Right? It reminds us what this whole thing, because we're forgetful a lot, right? We start thinking it's about us again. You ever listen in a meeting? Are you going to get to the solution or a power greater than you yet? Not yet. Still about me. So that's stage 1 recovery, is the over concentration and focus of self. I'm working the steps. I'm doing that. I'm doing it. You think you're taught, or you think, or you're under the impression it's about working the steps. It isn't about working the steps. And you have a hard time with people who say that because it goes against everything that you've taught. You could work the steps and still die of alcoholism. It's about experiencing the steps, what they bring about. And what's the purpose of the steps? Is to get access to power. If you're not getting access to power, then you miss the point of the steps. That's why they're going to remind us, right, on here, first paragraph, page 72, what this is about, in case you start forgetting and start thinking it's you doing this. Right? Just in case you show up again. I'm feeling good. Let me tell everybody what hard work I've done. Yes. Cleaning the barn with the shovel is hard work, but you're the one that created the pile that had to be removed in the first place. You're the only one used to the smell, buddy. Okay, move. First paragraph.
Having made our personal inventory, what shall we do about it?
Ready? Question mark, they answer it. What shall we do about it? This is not where we stop and ponder. I wonder what they meant. They're going to tell us what they meant. They haven't asked us, what do you think yet, have they? That's why a lot of people don't like this book. They don't ask, well, what do you think? Well, glad you asked. I'm going to talk endlessly on something I have no idea about, but the people around me don't know either. So as long as I sound smarter than them, then they'll get me to sponsor them. And that 3 weeks sober, I should be able to sponsor people based on me and my knowledge of self. Okay, go ahead. So what's the whole thing about?
All right. We've been trying to get a new attitude, a new relationship with our Creator, and to discover the obstacles in our path.
What's the obstacles in our path?
Resentment. Fear. Conduct. I love this book. They never
It's like, oh no, we're going in a whole new direction now. Just to confuse you, we're going to go way over here now. That's the obstacles, right?
Yeah. Someone wrote a whole book about that, interpreting what it meant, because they couldn't.
You're kidding. Do you know where that book is?
I dropped it.
Right. You're gonna kill me, I know, sooner or later. So then we see the point of the exercise here, and then on page 75, they talk about what we're about to do and how we're about to do it. And then they talk about we pocket our pride. Let's go, page 75, and let's go to it.
All right, 75, the middle of the page. We pocket our pride and go to it, illuminating every twist of character, every dark cranny of the past. Once we have taken this step, withholding nothing, we are delighted.
What are those things? Resentments, fears, harms, and conduct. Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One more time for the people in the back.
For the people in the back. I don't want to talk about those things. Well, too bad. Right?
We're starting to get it now. We're getting the answers right. So
okay.
We're like, something more. Once we have taken the step, withholding nothing, we are delighted.
Withholding nothing. What does nothing mean? Nothing. Everything. And from the peanut butter experience to the ripping off of the government, like everything, it's all done, right? Okay.
We are delighted. We can look the world in the eye. We can be alone at perfect peace and ease. Our fears fall from us.
Underline this. What was the purpose of the 4? Right? They're going to get, and it's the conclusion. What's the purpose of the 4 and 5? To remove the blocks, experience some humility and fearlessness, right? Which seals the deal. The consummation of this thing is the experience, is the telling of yourself to another human being. It seals the deal, right? Now you've moved from the engagement to the marriage, right? Go ahead.
Our fears fall from us. We begin to feel the nearness of our Creator. We may have had certain spiritual beliefs, but we now begin to have a spiritual experience.
Anybody notice the shift in conversation? Before the 5, page 71, we hope you.
Now are we.
Now you've sealed the deal, right? You're on the broad highway with us. Right? You're being governed by something other than you. You have access to this thing. Now you have the same information we have. What are you going to do about it? Well, we're going to tell you we're going to continue to move forward here. Right? We're on the same footing. Right? My sponsor, George, he says, I'm not going to talk to you about any of the stuff going on in your life. So, well, why not? Isn't that? He says, no, it's a one-sided conversation. I said, what do you mean one side? He says, yeah, all you do is talk about problems and all I do is talk about solutions. You can't talk about solutions because you haven't done the work yet. I'm not happy with George. He says, my job is to get you connected so you can have your own experience, so you could overcome these things that are crippling you. And I could tell you, we could both sit and talk about how we apply spiritual principles to these troubled areas. Otherwise it's one-sided conversation. Yes? That's what they mean, share our experience, strength, and hope. Is that, right? When they talked about that in Bill's story, where newcomers could bring their problems and they could find an answer to it. Spiritual answer, not self-fixing self. Anybody been in discussion meetings? Everybody's still fixing self. Well, where's God in that? Oh, yeah, God. He'll be here in a second. He's going to do a cameo appearance. But it's all me still. Stage 1 recovery is me taking credit for me and me working on this to a level where I should get a cake every 6 months. Or once a year. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. The feeling that the drink problem has disappeared will often come strongly. We feel we are on the broad highway, walking hand in hand with the spirit of the universe. Returning home, we find a place where we can be quiet for an hour.
That's cool, though, right? How they're saying we now, not you, me, different stuff. Like we're having the same experience. What this whole thing is about. I thought that was so cool when I read that one. I said, "Hey, wait a minute! Like I've been studying this book in depth, 37 years now, and I still find it amazing the way they put it together." My wife has her master's in English. She says this is one of the most amazing books that she's been through. She says, just the whole way it's put together and the design of it to connect you to something that puts you on a different plateau of life is pretty wild. That puts you into the universal energy field, right? We call it God, the spirit of the universe, whatever. It puts you connected to everything. It's pretty wild, where you're not that instinct-based creature living alone. You've stepped into the fourth dimension. You're building this spiritual structure that you live in, this energy that you live in. And it's kind of like, and the energy I used to live in was all instinct, fear-based, impending doom and calamity, the watching out, the preparation, the putting the knife in the door when I go to sleep, the gun in the headboard, the bat near the the door, right? In Canada, you're not allowed to have those things, but that was a long time ago. It didn't have serial numbers, so it didn't matter. Okay, go ahead.
I thought everyone slept with a bat under their bed. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. All depends on the level of disturbance. I thought everybody had a gun. No, go ahead. In the States, they do, right? It's every day, but here, it's not so much. People get really freaked out when you bring it out at dinner. Okay, go ahead. So let's talk. No, I digressed. Let's move on.
So we're quiet for an hour, carefully reviewing what we have done. We thank God from the bottom of our heart that we know Him better. Taking this book down from our shelf, we turn to the page which contains the 12 steps.
I've said this. I didn't do that, and I still stay sober. So you know what I mean? Like, that's what they suggest. I went home. I went to bed. I was so wiped out. Like the talk I did was like a methamphetamine rant for like 5 hours. Just let everything sweating and by the time I was done, it was like, okay. I went home. I just went to bed. I was wiped, right? Okay, go ahead.
Carefully reading the first 5 proposals, we ask if we had omitted anything.
Did I leave anything out? Right? And you know what? The beauty is your consciousness will talk to you. How many people left stuff out and your conscious said, hey, you left this out. And here's where you go. The humility is, you know what? I'm going to, reveal it. I'm going to tell on myself. I'm going to bring this to the light, or I'm going to bury it and end up getting drunk. Right? Because the exercise is more of the humility-based idea that I need to do this to formulate a relationship with something greater than myself. And it's really the dethroning of self. Right? In order to save myself, I'm no longer concerned with the color of the life jacket. Right? I'm going to grab, I don't care who's looking. Right? No. And I'm pretty prideful. I can get in a lot of stories where it's like, God, you better help me here because I'm going to die in this situation. God says, yes, I'm sending help. But that's the story for another day. Okay, go ahead.
If we've omitted anything, for we are building an arch through which we shall walk a free man at last.
Last time they mentioned that was page 62. Here they give us the recipe on how to do that. We have the access, the Da Vinci's code to the spiritual realm, to this access to this thing deep down within me, the life force within me. I like that picture with Sam. That thing within me that I've acknowledged. It's a part of me now. I know it's there. It's in every man, woman, and child. When you watch kids sometimes talk, who are they talking to? They're talking to their friend, right? And as they get older, they become distance from that voice, that entity, or this companion that we get reintroduced to through this process, which is really amazing stuff. And when you think about the resistance we had to this whole process, right, compared to how amazed we are from it, it's kind of, now I see where the doctor talking maladjusted, full-fledged formality, and downright mental defectives. Like, we're just like, it's the worst thing that ever happened to us. And having to do this thing, and oh my God, the dread of my life, the drama of it all, right? And then after we go through it, what a great idea I had doing this. Oh, it was so wonderful. People around you go, oh, yeah, it was a great idea. Yes. You were easy to work with. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. So we build this arch. We have access to this different experience within inside of us, and we've explained this before. It's like the best way to explain things for us is that you ever walk into a room where people are fighting, you feel that energy? And then you walk out the door, and if you walked into another room where kids are having a birthday party, that energy, you feel the shift inside of you and the attachment to that energy, of how it's welcoming or repelling, right? We have that now inside of. We know, hey, you know what? I don't have to go all these other places. It's within me. Nothing wrong with still having to go to a meeting to get grabbing your ass with both hands. If your ass falls off, they used to say, pick it up, bring it to a meeting, we'll help you reattach it. But we're going to have to apply a bit of God glue to get it kind of reconnected, right? And that's where we hang around with our own people, and we remind ourselves of something that we can't see in the moment, and that's where we're going. Okay, go ahead.
Is our work solid so far? Are the stones properly in place? Have we skimped on the cement put into the foundation? Have we tried to make mortar without sand? If we can answer to our satisfaction...
If. That's a qualifier. If you can't, the if changes everything, right? If you can't, right? If I see you again, anybody remember a judge saying that? If I see you again, if you do that again. If is a big word for people like us, right? It's kind of like, if this happens again, right? Okay.
If we can answer to our satisfaction, then we look at step 6.
When does it say look at? Look, because there's really nothing you can do about it. Don't get confused with the idea, this is where I take over, coach, let me in. Right? This is where God needs my help. I'm going to the closet to get my cape. Da 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 da. What do you got on? I got my step 6 cape on. We're going to start working on us now. I got that book. Drop the rock, picking up the rock. Oh my God, why do I feel like smoking a rock? It's because you're working on you. You're back to revisiting the problem again. And we don't have the power to create a shift in our psyche and our emotional well-being to place that sense of ease and comfort. That, I need that to match calamity with serenity. I need the ability to do that, to find safe harbor within myself that I can't create on my own. So here we go. Let's look at it. What are we looking at? Well, it's going to tell us.
Let's look at step 6. We have emphasized willingness as being indispensable. Are we now ready to let God remove from us all the things we've admitted are objectionable?
What are all those things?
All the things we were just talking about.
Which are?
The fear, the conduct, the harms.
The resentment. You see how people they go to something that's not tangible. Oh, selfish and considerate. Well, it needs to be attached to something and come from something. This is something that's already established. If these things are still present, then I can't be free of them. So step 6 is the summary of the separation of I nearly said church and state, but I don't know why my mind went there. But it's the separation from the idea of me fixing things to the it's the idea that if I still carry these things, I'm not going to have a new experience. Mm-hmm. Right? These are the blocks that are defeating me. Right? These things from my past. And the willingness, why do they say willingness is? Because I'm going to allow God to do for me what I can't do for myself and shake some of this stuff because it's deep rooted. Some of that stuff is real. The fabric of my existence is attached to it, to my story. This is my story, my identity. And I'm willing to be free of it, but some of it's really deep. It's a part of my character. It's a part of my belief system. It formulates my personality. Right? Yeah. Right?
Is that what we're trying to get? Is a personality change? Don't we have to be free of these things to have this personality change?
Yeah, so my sponsor tried to teach me this stuff. Like he says one stage of my recovery, he says, I just want you to listen to country and western for 6 months, nothing else. I thought he was crazy. By the end of the 6 months, I was having moments. I was getting to it then this other time. Like, he wanted me to see how these things shape my personality that I couldn't see. He says, in the step 6 stuff, it all, like, you wouldn't believe how much stuff is in there. Right, let's finish reading and then I'll tell you the story. Go ahead, I got excited there. I digressed. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Sorry.
Which are objectionable. Question, can he now?
Yes. Can he now take them all, everyone?
Take them all. Take them all. All of them. Well, can he? Yeah, he can, but there's a problem with that. Right? And we're going to get into what the problem with that deal is. Remember, he'll provide all that we need if we keep close to him. Performers work well. If we're connected. And these things are removed, right? So there's a problem with what's being presented here, and they're going to tell us. Ready?
If we still cling to something.
There's the problem. Hello. You were wondering when you were going to show up. Well, there you are.
If we still cling to something, we will not let go. That doesn't sound familiar. We ask God to help us be willing.
Step 6 is my past of things that I'm bringing present that's still shaping my personality that's not working for me. One thing, like there's a lot of the resentments, the family, some of that stuff you won't become aware of till you start doing your 11s. When you do your 11s and your daily review, you'll see, you're still showing up. Your past is still showing up, determining your present, how you react. So this is one of the things my sponsor says. He says, I want you to go into the mall on payday and walk into one of those shops. And he says, I want you to go ask them for the latest styles. From shoes, pants, and shirt. The latest styles. And he says, I want to put all your stuff in a bag. And you leave them all with a new personality. So I went in. And this, like, I used to wear all black. Black Dayton's, black boots, gold on every finger, black leather jackets. Like, I mean, and the vocabulary to go with it. Like the whole shot. Like, I mean, I was something to behold. A vision for you. So I went in there, and I didn't know how much this stuff shaped my personality. So I went in, and the guy showed me these pants, and it was back when they were the Miami Vice guys, you know, with those colorful shirts and the white pants and the leather sandals shoes, right? So I went in there, and this guy showing me this is the latest styles and all that stuff. When I was peeling off some money, went in the dressing room, put it on, and I kept on telling the guy, I said, I used other terminology. I said, are you messing with me? Because if you're messing with me, people wear this stuff. He's like, oh, yeah. So I left the mall, and the shoes are flopping and all that stuff. And I'm thinking everybody's looking at me, so I'm gunning everybody off in the mall. Like, that's a level of self-centered old ideas, right? My personality determines my clothes. I'm getting to where... So I go to this roundup, and I walk into the roundup. Nobody moves, and people are smiling at me. I said, what an order. I can't go through with it. I went to the trunk of my car. I got all my leather and everything. I went into the bathroom. As I started putting on this clothes again, I felt a personality change. And that was the lesson, right? How these things determine my personality. Who I wasn't there. It was these... People used to call these masks or these things, these resentment, these ideas, how people perceive me, how I used to think all these people had contempt for me. I had contempt for all of them. I walked into a meeting looking for somebody to look at me wrong, to prove my thinking correct. I know none of you fine people do any of that stuff, right? That's step 6 stuff. That was formulating my personal. Yes, you know what? My prayer was, God, I'm willing you should have all this, but could you give me something better in return? I was still involved in things that I shouldn't be involved in. I know we're not saints, but I was still doing a lot of things that benefited me that was still working toward my demise. And that's where I invited God in. I'm willing that you should have all these things. And as time went on, a lot of those stuff started dissipating as I incorporated it in 11. I had to carry this personality stuff. So where does step 6 come in? Well, the stuff that I never let go of, that wasn't removed in 5, became a part of my personality, and I became aware of in 6. Does that kind of make sense? It shaped a defect. It's my I'm not operating the way I was designed. I'm being ineffective, right? There needs to be a recall. I need to go back to the factory to get some reprogramming done. So this has to do with the past. Step 6 is past items being present. Did you want to add anything on that?
No.
I will not commit. So anyways, so then that has to do with the past, is the willingness to be free of these things. And as you go, you'll see some of the stuff you still hang on to. How many people still hanging on to different items from their past that becomes present, that you get in a conversation with, determining how you react today? Right? That's step 6 stuff, baby. Right? Okay, that you carry into 11. Now what do we do? So okay. So new conversation.
Okay.
That has to do with the past, yes?
Yes.
We all agree on that? Past items that I'm still hanging on to, or emotional deformity, or things that are shaping my personality still. I'm aware of it, but I can't seem to shake it, so I'm willing. Some of it I don't want to let go of. There's sentimental value. There's value to it. Maybe not sentimental, but there's value in how I'm feeling and thinking about these people, places, and things. Yes?
Yeah.
But I'm willing to let go of them. Some of them took a little time. I know it's hard to believe with a wonderful, shining personality like mine. Okay, so, okay, go ahead. When
ready, we say something like this. My Creator, I am now willing that you should have all of me.
Yeah, all of me. Right? So now we're reconfirming step 3 on a more deeper level. Right? Now you should have all of me. Before I was willing to turn my will and life over. Now I'm willing you should have all of me. You know what? Have all of me. Because really it's going to say why I'm asking for this conclusion. Remember they talked about in the 4th step, what's God's will for me? To play the role he assigns. How do I know what that is? I need to stay connected. How do I stay connected? Well, that's what this whole process is about. Right? The steps turn into principles that have me connected. It's like it got me the job. Getting a job and keeping a job is 2 different things. I got the job now. How do I keep it? Right?
Yeah. Yeah. That you have all of me, good and bad.
Why do they say that? Good and bad?
Because some of the beliefs I have about myself, I don't know what is good or bad. Some of the things I'm holding on to that I think are good might be bad.
Yeah, and this is the real thing. Is part of that is that most people, when they talk about step 7 stuff, or they put 6 and 7 together, which is 2 different steps. One's the past, one's the present moving forward. One's the present moving forward. Right? I'm trusting God from here forward with my life. My job is to stay present. Right? Mm-hmm. What's trying to keep me out of the present is the things from my past, right? Or the things that I anticipated, which takes me out of here today. So, good and bad means I'm concentrating on me again. Most people talk about step 6 and 7, old behaviors, all the bad stuff. But when I'm talking about how great I'm doing, who am I talking about? When I'm talking about how bad I'm doing, who am I talking about? See, self traps me into squeezing out God, where God becomes a pitch hitter or a negotiation thing in my life, not a part of my life. Remember I said it's like the marriage now. If I'm going to be successful in my marriage, I'm coming up to 17 years this Saturday. It's pretty wild. I need to have a joint relationship with my wife, right? Where she's a big part of my life. When I was visiting in Toronto, it was like, you phone your wife 2 or 3 times a day. I said, I love my wife. She's my best friend. Right? Why wouldn't I call her? She's my best friend. Like she's like we have a relationship together, right? Just sometimes hearing her voice or whatever, or if she's going through something, I'm going through something. Just knowing we're there kind of lightens the load, and that's kind of my relationship with something greater than myself. Now here in Canada, we have what they're called toonies. It's a $2 coin, right? And there's 2 sides to the coin, but there's actually 3 sides to the coin. And that's what they're approaching here. So if you took the 2 coins and you put them up to your eyes and you try to look through, you couldn't do it. It'd block all your vision, right? One side would be how good you are. The other side would be how bad you are. If you turn the coin sideways, and see the right. So you just see the small end of it, and look, you'd be able to look past it, past those obstacles, right? And so that's the God side, is the side of the coin, not the two sides. So I didn't keep the sides pointing flat outwards, right? And it moves past my vision with me. And I thought that was so cool, is not so I'm not blinded by me. Right? It's like the coin when you kind of have it like this. When if you turn it sideways like that, it kind of allows you to see past it. Right? And that's kind of like what we're doing here. Go ahead.
I pray that you now remove from me every single defect of character which stands in my way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. Grant me strength as I go out from here to do your bidding. Amen. We have now completed step 7.
Completed. That's done. Nothing for me to work on here. Look, you have all of me. I'm going to move forward here. You help me with this connection or where I'm moving to. Play the role he assigns, and as my life unfolds. And what's really cool here is they talk about to do your bidding, right? Grant me strength, right? Not help me work these steps in my life. Give me access to power where I have the ability to not be consumed by me, where I move into second stage recovery, where I rise above, right? They talk about that, and we rise above our problems. We say God made this possible, but those that don't understand just smiled. So we have the ability to rise above the animal instinct inside of us that keeps us in bondage and difficulties to solve. When I raise my elevation in thinking, right, through spiritual principles, I have a more vast outlook, right? So when I live in the spiritual structure, I feel safe and protected. The energy I walk in is way different. And when when people try to tap in who energy is different, I feel it. So I stay at safe distance and try to be of service, right? So really cool here is I'm going to trust God to bring me to a place that I can't create on myself, that I'm going to trust him with everything. But I need to be involved in that. And so this week, read here, which really, now we need more action. Isn't that funny? They said that in the 4th step, they said that in the 5th step, but they didn't say that in 6 and 7. 6 and 7 is preparation steps to allow something greater than me to accomplish within me that I can't create in myself. The acknowledgement of that, right? And so here now I need to get re-involved, but then it's going to say, let's look at again, not let's rush out, let's look at. And so this week, read right up to the new instructions, right before is step 11. So we should be incorporating, right, read through this, right, incorporating 11 and 12 as we go back and start cleaning up our past. People say, the steps are in order for a reason. We read them in order for a reason, but we apply the principles, right, of this connection. Because how would it makes no sense that if this is all about my relationship with a power greater than myself, to start going it alone in 8 and 9 till I'm finished my 9 and then bring God back into it. Like, that's another level of insanity. That makes no sense. Right? Like, you can't use a parachute unless you're this high. What? So read through it, and it's all about my involvement with something greater than me. If anything I do that doesn't involve that relationship, then it's incorrect information. Right? All of me. When I've done step 9. It doesn't say that, right? All of me means no. Do you want to add anything to that, Katie?
Oh, it was beautiful. It was great.
So, as we go through this, read what it says and it goes through. And I'll give you a little disclosure here. We're going to do a little hint. So as we read through this, right, where it says on page 84, it says this thought brings us to step 10. You notice it didn't say this group of actions. Or after completing, right, step 9, now we move into step 10. It says this thought? What thought? That's a little homework. Go to that conclusion. And what's the next information we get as guidance, as development in our life? What's the conclusion of this? Right? So we just finished 5. We looked at 6 and 7. Now we're going to read through 8 and 9. We're looking at 10. And we're moving into 11. Let's see what the whole conclusion of the purpose of this thing is. Does that kind of make sense? Yeah, I had a lot of fun. That was good. More exciting than I thought it would be.
Always exciting.
And I just came up with my meditation here. So a defect. Some of our defects become manageable. Some of them, like, I know it's hard to believe, 37 years later, this April, I have certain defects of character that I'm aware of, that's for my personality, is part of, it's called a personality disorder. I don't know how any of us would have any of that, but the right situations bring out a part of me that I forget that I'm spiritually based. I know nobody else has that problem here, right? My wife calls it when Tony shows up, right? And so that means I don't have to work. I need to get reconnected. The more connected I am, the less I suffer from me, right?
Yeah.
The less connected I am, the more I suffer from me. So our adventures before and after make clear 3 pertinent ideas. A, that we were alcoholic and could not manage our own thinking, manage our own lives, right? Thinking lives based on self. B, that God could and would, how does that go? A, that we were alcoholic, could not manage our own lives. B, that probably no human power can have relieved the experience that we're having, relieved our alcoholism, right? And that we can't create the life that we're hoping for based on self. And C, that God could and would if he were sought. Our adventures before and after. Before the steps and after the steps make clear 3 printed ideas. Anytime you're going it alone, it'll become evident to you and everybody around you. Right? You find it funny after you've been through it. In a moment, it's not too good, right? So life becomes, we see ourselves going in it now. We see ourselves going through it. And then we come out the other side. And that never changes. What changes is my experience with what's happening and everybody else's experience around me. Right? Because none of us are exempt from life. It rains on the just and unjust. But what we end up getting is a spiritual umbrella where the impact of that is not so severe anymore. Right? So live long and prosperous. May the force be with you. And we'll close with the 3rd step prayer, because I heard Ray saying we're past, the 3rd step, right? So we'll do the 3rd step prayer. What's the basis for a phenomenal life, Katie?
God, I offer myself to thee. To build with me and to do it. Are we doing the 3rd step prayer?
You're right on time. You interrupted. You got to start over again. See, the mind took over. You just should have started going. But that's a great example how the mind says, hey, wait a minute. Stop talking to God. Talk to me for a second. Right? And that's our experience for life. That was awesome. You couldn't have planned that better. Okay, go ahead.
God. I offer myself to thee to do with me. Oh, I don't know.
To build with me and to do with me as thou wilt. Relieve me of the bondage of self, that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, the victory over them.
May bear witness to those I would help of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. May I do thy will always.
Live long and prosperous. May the force be with you. That was awesome. Love you, Katie. You're the best, man.
Love you too.